On the road, we just left Hilton Head Island. We stayed at a great resort called Hilton Head Harbor RV Resort. Really enjoyed our time there. We had 3 nights there. Now we're on our way to Myrtle Beach, and it's in the morning. Kids are getting some of their homework done on the way. It's about 180 miles, which equates to about 4 hours of driving, because we're cruising along the coast, checking out the South Carolina coast.
We are at the Hampton Plantation, and it's 3 different families from 1730s to 1750s. The Georgian style mansion that they had, and they had enslaved Africans here who helped with the production of rice in this area.
Running back to the trailer. There's lots of bugs here. They're all over the place. They're eating us alive. But luckily, we figured that might happen. So, we did bring a bounty of bug spray. So we have deep woods, dry. They're right back. The ranger was educating us, all kinds of stuff, but we couldn't stand still.
Up here, AIDS came up, and 3 or 4 months before they wrote. The Rutledges said President Washington wants to come by, and they're like, "Wow, okay, great." And so they built the front porch structure with the giant columns, so Washington would have a grand welcome when he arrived.
Wow!
And the porch, the tree out front, when you get up there, is called the Washington tree.
Okay.
Because that was a young oak at the time. Where's a young oak? That's a young oak. They were going to chop it down. And George Washington's aide, who was here, said, no, don't chop it down. Mr. Washington is a big fan of nature and trees. And indeed, when Washington came, he said it was a magnificent tree, and he was glad they didn't chop it down. It obstructed the view as you're going up. They wanted this just perfect.
Yeah.
So after that, they called it Washington's tree. And there's a bell in it. Find the bell.
Okay.
The bell is part of our good, bad, and ugly history here. And you can read the plaque.
It is.
Is this the Washington tree?
It's funny, I was telling Tiffany
We couldn't find the
It is
bell.
the Washington tree.
that I wonder if the plantation will be this big white manor house like we see in the movies, or if it'll be some other color. Are you guys relaxing on the steps of the plantation?
If I can't see you, you can't see me. You cannot see me.
Turn around and see their view.
We get cookies.
View of the giant oak tree. This oak tree was just a tiny sapling, and some of the groundskeepers were going to cut it down to make it look really nice for George Washington, and his aide, George Washington's aide, said not to cut it down. And now look at it. It's a big, giant, immense oak tree. The bell was used to intimidate the slaves on the property.
So, Abby, what's your takeaway from the Hampton Plantation?
It's okay.
What'd you learn here?
About the bell and like how they grew like crops and stuff like that.
What kind of crop did they grow here?
Rice, and the owner sold it, even though the Sayeds made it, and he got money from it.
And what did the bell symbolize? How did they use the bell here?
To like inform slaves that someone might be punished, or all of them might be punished.
Do you think they use the bell for anything other than punishment?
No.
Well, we'll have to fix that because that's a little incorrect. Do you ever hear a school bell at your school?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's probably time for them to learn or something.
So it's kind of like that. It's notifying them that no matter where they are on the plantation grounds, it was time to come in for something.
Oh.
But what happened if they were late?
They'd get punished.
Yeah. So how did they start to associate being late with, like, punishment or beatings or lashings?
With the what's it called? Like a whip
A
or
whip.
something.
Yeah.
And then like other punishments, like they could even be put to death.
It could be, huh?
And they won't even be charged anything or anything happen.
Yeah.
Flies everywhere.
So we're back in the truck
Oh.
after visiting the Hampton Plantation. I thought it was super cool. George Washington visited the place. There was civil rights or Civil War fights in the creek back behind the place. Really cool history. Kids, what'd you think?
Amazing. I liked it.
All right. Well, if you're driving around in South Carolina, go to the Hampton Plantation. It's super cool. We just arrived at
Myrtle Beach.
Myrtle Beach. Townie wore the perfect shirt for that sign. We're in Myrtle Beach State Park campground. Camping for the next few days.
There you go. 1, 2, 3.
That's so cool they did that.
It is. Here we are at Myrtle Beach by the pier. And it's pretty crazy because the sand is all gray with occasional shells. But the minute you start digging just below the surface, you find all these shell remnants and whole shells.
I found this closed one.
Dipper, you find it. You find it. What's in here? Find it. He's a good boy. You find it. Oh boy.
Just walked off the beach. Here's one of the cabins. It's pretty cool. Cabin number 5 at Myrtle Beach State Campground. It's probably a 2-minute walk to the beach. Got an outdoor shower. Beach is just right down that way. Riding along Myrtle Beach. Here we are getting into the more of the resort area of Myrtle Beach. Only a couple-minute bike ride from where we're staying out in the state park. One of the pitfalls of being on the road, I guess it's not all glamorous, some stuffing here, some insulation around the battery. All down in this area, tore it all up. Assuming it's from our last camp spot, there was lots of squirrels. I think a squirrel got in here and was trying to make himself a home. Also chewed up that area there a little bit. So my battery installation is no longer, but I think that's all I got too. So I think we're okay. Doing the tourist thing, parking on the side of the road, running across the street. So we can get a picture with the sign. We got the picture. We gotta go back across the street.
Let's go.
Trinity Island Light Station, the Outer Banks. Here, over an estuary.
And there's crabs moving like crazy.
Here we are on the Outer Banks. Came across this shipwreck boat.
Look what Abby found. We can make an episode of McCrea with it. We'll be in the ship. Abby, I need to check where you are. Be right back.
Wow, inside a deserted ship.
Yep. This looks pretty nice.
Here we are inside the museum, the Wright Brothers. A replica of their plane. Their first human-powered flight, or well, flight with a powered plane was in 1903. 1900 and 1901 they actually designed gliders and held the gliders before they actually had a powered plane to fly in. And there's the area outside where they flew it. Wooden propellers. You can see his little saddle where they laid down. There's a few levers here where they would control. Called that's the elevator. Wilbur and Orville Wright. So here's the monorail. They connected the plane, the Wright brothers connected their plane for its power, and then there's the markers out there, foreground. It was their 1, 2, 3, and there's a fourth one way out there by those people on how far each successful flight was.
Darn long.
Sunset.
Yeah, look it.